On the news tonight, Supreme Court adjourns CBN's Naira redesign policy case till February 22, insists that all notes remain legal tender. Violence erupts in various parts of the country amid Naira scarcity crisis. And federal government inaugurates duty-free shopping village for diplomats to promote economic growth. Many thanks for joining us on News Now this evening. I am Simisola Adigun. Amid the Naira crisis in the country, there have been reports of unrest in different parts of the country on Wednesday. In Delta State, angry youths in Warri town burnt down one of the branches of Access Bank while protesting against the persistent scarcity of Naira notes. Videos on social media show the angry youths protesting around Udu Road access, disrupting vehicle movement and destroying valuable property in the area. The angry protesters were also seen throwing stones and destroying some properties within the bank's premises.
See money. They say they don't go collect them. All this thing they don't go collect them. See money now. Money plenty where we don't send though. See money. Say that so.
Adaba FM talk say they have extended it. Mojala talk say they have extended it. Now they now come say they now collect it again. And in today's news, they say that people have responded and they said they will not collect it. Why they are support us like this? They did not suppose to support us like this. They are our leader and we're obeying them. We have to do election and smarter they will take us to go and cast our vote. I have my PVC here. This is my voter's card. This is my voter's card here. This is my voter's card. I'm not going to vote anybody.
What is happening is that filling station they didn't collect the old money from us, and the bank too they didn't collect anything from us. So we are a driver, we are driving a motor, but we don't have option to go to anywhere. Because when we go to filling station now, they will not accept the money from us. So everybody are versing. Not only this place, so everywhere. People are versing now. We want government to announce that everybody should be collecting the money. When in this filling station, they should be collecting it. If we want to buy something, then we should be collecting it. Because if they don't collect it, this job will be continued like this. We are tired.
Meanwhile, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has accused some politicians of hoarding the redesigned Naira notes, which is one of the reasons for some of the challenges encountered in the new Naira notes access. Emefiele made the remarks while briefing the diplomatic community on recent monetary policy decisions of the CBN on Tuesday in Abuja. He said the Apex Bank had conducted an extensive in-house analysis and consultation and saw a need for the policy to redesign some Nigerian banknotes. Emefiele added that the mop-up of notes by politicians has contributed to the lengthy queues at banking halls and automated teller machines, ATMs.
As at October 2022, currency in circulation had risen, indeed more than doubled, to over 3.2 trillion naira, out of which only 500 billion was within the banking system and 2.72 trillion held in people's homes. What happened is that when suspicious transactions are reported by banks to the NFIU, the FCC and ICPC are obligated to pick those suspicious transactions and investigate them. But of course, what we found is that in the course of investigating them, those who felt that they were being investigated for those suspicious transactions began to abandon the banks and began to build vaults in their homes. That is the reason we've seen currency outside the banking industry at 2.72 trillion out of 3.23 trillion. This is unacceptable. The policy is typically expected to cause deflation in the market as less cash holding reduces currency outside banks and retards money circulation. The accompanying decline in money supply will thus slow the pace of inflation. As you can see, we have started to witness inflation trending downwards, following general price stability in almost all genera of market, including goods for goods and financial products. For instance, analysis show that an effective implementation of the policy could by itself scrap 4 percentage points off the current level of inflation as it steadily slows inflation rate to about 18% by the mid of 2023.
The Supreme Court has adjourned the case on the Naira swap policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, till Wednesday, February 22, for hearing of the consolidated suits by 10 states. The Apex Court also ruled that its February 8 order barring the federal government and its agencies from enforcing the February 10 deadline for the use of old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes still subsists. The court chose the date after joining the Attorneys General of Katsina, Lagos, Cross River, Ondo, Ogun, Ekiti and Sokoto states as co-plaintiffs in the earlier suit filed by Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara states. Edo and Bayelsa states were also joined as co-respondents. Speaking at the court proceedings, Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, said the states were not at war with the federal government over its cashless policy, but were only concerned about its negative impact on the citizens who are now denied access to their funds.
I want to urge, and of course, all of us governors, we want to urge all Nigerians. Yes, we are all suffering, but let's stay alive. Let's maintain peace, law and order. If we kill ourselves, others will remain there to enjoy your money. It is just a temporary setback for us in this country. We are not condemning this particular policy of President Muhammadu Buhari. It is going to be the way to go. But the implementation, that is what we are questioning. To ensure that Nigerians have lives, use your money. Nobody should compel anyone to open an account if you don't want. You may choose to keep your wealth the way you want to keep it, utilize it the way you want to do it, and every Nigerian should have the liberty to live freely in this society.
We are working towards solving this problem. It's a national problem, and we are working towards solving this problem. There aren't two sides. We are affected on both sides. We are trying to solve it. Please, I want you to know the government is not deliberately frustrating the plaintiffs. This is a problem that we are trying to solve. With a little time, it will be solved. Please, I beg you, let us not inflame it. It's going to be solved. It's being solved. We are getting over it. Do you agree? Please, that's all. They are not deliberately refraining from putting money in the ATM. No, nobody is deliberately. It's the banks. The banks operate the ATMs. They do. And I join in appealing to the banks to put money in the ATM if they have it. I join the court in making that appeal.
Well, now to speak more on this development, legal expert Liberos Oshoma joins me now. Thank you very much for joining me, Liberos. Now, there are currently 2 standing orders from the Supreme Court and the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please clarify, does one supersede the other?
It is one order. There are no 2 orders. What the Supreme Court did was the Supreme Court gave an order, and that order the Supreme Court today again reiterated, and so the CBN order cannot override the Supreme Court order. That's except we are saying we are in a lawless society. So there are no 2 orders. The parties have submitted to the jurisdiction of the court to determine jurisdiction, because I learned there are applications to determine jurisdiction. And the court had said, well, pending while we do that, some other persons have applied to join as interested parties in the matters on the ground that they are also affected. And so while we are waiting to do that, We have joined all the parties that want to be joined. So hold fire till on the 23rd of February, and we reinstate the order we made before now that parties should maintain status quo pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. And let parties go and join issues on it, and then come back and the court will hear it. The order we issued earlier on still stands. So the Supreme Court cannot, the CBN cannot come and say, we are going ahead with the deadline that we had issued, despite the Supreme Court of the land saying that parties should maintain status quo. That is why you hear Kanu Agabi, SAN, saying that there are no two sides. It's just one side and they're finding a solution. But the only thing I find curious in all of this argument is this attempt at blaming banks. It is sad that the stakeholders, people who should know, people who are knowledgeable in this thing, are pushing the blame to banks, and that is causing the banks hardship, because the ordinary man on the street who does not understand but yes, it is not healthy. It is not healthy for our people to make, especially very senior lawyer at that level. It is quite unfortunate. The question should be now, what hardship will the CBN suffer if it decides to obey the order of the court to allow both currency coexist? What hardship will the CBN suffer? Why the fire brigade approach? That's the question we should be asking. And is there enough cash for the bank to put in the ATMs? Can the bank print Naira and put in the ATMs? Is it not the CBN that allocates cash to the banks to put in the ATMs? If the banks do not have a note to put in the ATM, will they pour water there? So let us not unnecessarily inflame people and allowing them, the illiterate ones, to begin to destroy banks by our statement. I think, we should all be circumspect when we make a certain statement that we are truly not fully aware of. It's quite unfortunate.
Sorry to cut you short here, but how do you expect the situation to eventually pan out? And what significance does this Supreme Court order have on the controversy surrounding the redesigned Naira policy?
There's no controversy. First and foremost, let us understand this issue. None of the parties is saying that the CBN does not have the power to redesign the Naira note. None of the parties is saying that. None of the parties is saying that the redesigning of the Naira note or the swapping of the Naira note is a bad policy. No. What they are, like Governor Yaya Bello has said, what they are after is the implementation of the policy, that the fire brigade approach implementation of the policy and the deadline is creating untold hardship on the people, and that they should allow reasoning to prevail and allow an extension of the policy so that as it is done, like we always say here, so that they allow, application of international best practice, allow both currency to coexist until you phase out the old currency and then the new currency becomes operational. We have redesigned the lower denominations from the paper denomination to polymer. There was no crisis. We redesigned the 100 Naira note and there was no crisis. So what is creating this crisis is the non-availability of the note and then the deadline. So what you are seeing happening now is that those people that have some of the currency are going to keep it to say, well, I don't know what will happen, especially considering the fact that the election is around the corner. So they don't know what is going to happen. So they are going to keep the little that they have because there is scarcity. Once the supply is low, demand will be high and the prices will be high. So that's basically what it's playing out. It's a simple economics.
Thank you for your time. I'm sorry I have to cut you short here, but thank you for your time and your contribution. Moving on, in a bid to enhance a better and healthy life for Lagosians, the APC-led administration in Lagos State has organized a free medical mission exercise under the Rural Health Program of the Lagos State government. The event, which took place at Palm Avenue Primary Healthcare Center, Mushin, served as a platform to enlighten the general public on basic health care. Our correspondent, Mary Kanu, has details in this report.
Here at the Palm Avenue Primary Healthcare Center in Mushin, Lagos State, a large number of residents have assembled to take part in the free medical care outreach organized by the Rural Health Program of the Lagos State government. One after the other, residents take turns to see a specialist doctor to test for diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, eye problems, as well as breast and cervical cancer. The organizers of the initiative say they worked in collaboration with the Lagos State government to sensitize those living in the rural areas to always check their health on a regular basis.
The goal is to catch them right at the place where they work, amongst their market spaces and in public facilities where they are currently working. So on the one hand of this outreach, we are doing a whole lot of work with health education. We are reaching out to children, we are reaching out to women, talking to them about their health, about how to make sure they have improved health-seeking behaviors.
So this intervention is a consolidation for continuity. It's a consolidation for us to continue to do more. And it's also, where the reward of hard work is more work. And so when we were informed of this intervention, we were very happy because we know that the people of Mushin, because of our populations, really need all this intervention on a regular basis, and that's why we've been doing it every month.
In Nigeria, access to quality and affordable health care is often far and in between. For these beneficiaries, this is an opportunity that cannot be overlooked. They also commended the Lagos State government for the provision of free medical tests and drugs they enjoyed from the health outreach without costing them a penny.
I really appreciate Governor Sanwo-Olu for doing this for Mushin constituency. We love him, we appreciate him, and we are looking forward for his coming back in this second term because he's the best governor so far. I'm very overwhelmed for what the governor did because I came to complain about malaria and I was so surprised and shocked for the drugs given to me instead of buying it with my own money in this cashless period.
He came here to come and do free tests and he gave us free drugs and so on and so on.
Speaking at the exercise, the Senior Special Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on Health, Oreoluwa Fini, says the free medical outreach is geared towards increasing access to primary and basic healthcare services in Lagos communities.
We've just brought this here to encourage people to seek health. Generally, our people in the country, not just in Lagos, have poor health-seeking behavior. They don't look for the doctor until sometimes it's too late. So if you bring health to their doorstep, if you've brought the doctor to their doorstep, to their market, to their mosque, to their church, then as they are walking by, they will access it. And a lot of the diseases that would have taken long and perhaps would have proved fatal, we can catch them quickly and then make sure that we have a healthy population.
According to Finney, the Lagos State government plans to cover more than 25,000 residents under its rural health program of the state government. Mary Kanu, TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a short break here, but still to come, Nigeria's inflation rate rises to 21.82% amid Naira redesign policy. We'll bring you details of this story right after this break. Welcome back. Now here's a recap of our top stories tonight. The Supreme Court has adjourned the case on the Naira swap policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria till Wednesday, February 22, for hearing of the consolidated suits by 10 states. The Apex Court also ruled that its February 8 order barring the federal government and its agencies from enforcing the February 10 deadline for the use of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes still subsist. We also told you that there have been reports of unrest in different states across the country on Wednesday amid the Naira crisis in the country. Residents in the states barricaded roads, causing heavy traffic and destroyed property while protesting their inability to get cash at banks. The incidents have led to the death of some protesters, with others injured. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. In COVID updates, Hong Kong researchers have concluded that smoking and being obese are likely to increase the risk of people contracting mild to severe COVID-19. Hong Kong researchers say having a high body mass index can increase risk of a severe bout of COVID by 81%, while smokers are at 65% higher risk. For obese people who can't lose weight and smokers who can't give up cigarettes or vaping, the researchers recommended getting a vaccine booster shot. We'll take another short break here and return with business updates. Don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Mary Kano is on standby with business updates. Over to you now, Mary.
Thank you, Simsola. Welcome to Business News. Amid the Central Bank of Nigeria's Naira policy and currency scarcity crisis in the country, the Consumer Price Index, which measures the rate of change in prices of goods and services, has surged to 21.82% in January 2023, up from 21.34% in the previous month. The inflation rate data is contained in the latest CPI report released on Wednesday by the National Bureau of Statistics. According to the NBS, the January 2023 inflation rate showed an increase of 0.47 percent points when compared to that of December 2022. However, on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 6.22 percent points higher compared to the rate recorded in January 2022, which was put at 15.60%. We'll take a break and return with stock market report. And for the second time this week, Triple G is leading the Advancers League after its share price rose from ₦1.50 to ₦1.65, up by 10%. Although at a slower rate, Nigeria's equities market increased by 0.02% as investors tread cautiously on Custom Street. Now, amid declining activities, investors in 2,905 deals exchanged 134 million volume of shares. In the aggregate, 109 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending with 20 gainers and 16 losers. Now to some select global stocks. Stocks are down in the US and Asia as investors weighed new economic data and continue to digest mixed signs on inflation, which could complicate expectations that the Federal Reserve will soon shift to easier policy on interest rates. That's all in Stock Market Review. Semisola, back to you.
Thank you, Mary, for that update. And on the global scene, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned of the threat posed by rising sea levels to hundreds of millions of people living in low-lying coastal areas and small island states. As new data reveals, seas have risen rapidly since 1900. He added that developing countries in particular must have the resources to adapt to a rapidly changing world by ensuring that the $100 billion climate finance commitment to developing countries is delivered.
Rising seas are sinking futures. Sea level rise is not only a threat in itself, it is a threat multiplier. For the hundreds of millions of people living in small island developing states and other low-lying coastal areas around the world, sea level rise is a torrent of trouble. Rising seas threaten lives and jeopardize access to water, food, and health care. Megacities on every continent will face serious impacts, including Cairo, Lagos, Maputo, Bangkok, Dhaka, Jakarta, Mumbai, Shanghai, Copenhagen, London, Los Angeles, New York, Buenos Aires, and Santiago. Among other things, this means delivering on the Loss and Damage Fund, making good on the $100 billion climate finance commitment to developing countries, doubling adaptation finance, and leveraging massive private financing at a reasonable cost.
In sport, LA Galaxy star Julian Araujo is set to finally complete his move to Barcelona on a reported deal that runs till 2026. Barcelona had earlier missed out on a move for Araujo in the January transfer window after filling the paperwork 18 seconds too late on deadline day. Following discussions between both teams, Araujo is due to travel to Barcelona on Thursday and will complete a €4 million transfer from LA Galaxy. Well, that's our package this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Simisola Ajikun. Bye for now.